this best of 3. Here we go. HomeBois pulls out a Diggy at the last minute.
I think even RRQ were not ready for that pick. I mean, you can already see from the bans, the Akai and the last bans, they were really expecting Zorn to go for Zorn type of heroes. Zorn type of heroes are flashy heroes, initiation. So putting Zorn on a Diggy, is that going to work out? That is the big question right now for HomeBois.
And it's something that you gotta wonder, right? There's a lot of aggression up top. That's 3 members from each side being sent up for some early skirmishes. Was this an oversight from Coach Zaya, the newly minted Burmese coach for RRQ? Because again, he's one of the greatest drafters I've seen in recent history, but the Diggy fell through. The Diggy, especially after that Minotaur pickup.
It is really weird to see something like this, like an oversight for Zaya himself, but we will see how it works out. Maybe the idea for RRQ is the fact that they have a lot of CC that they can play to just try to overwhelm the Diggy with more CC. And we have seen that work before, you know, with a lot of these clumped up initiation-heavy compositions with CC. But speaking of CC, you guys should join in the raffle.
That's right. You don't want to miss out on what's going to go down in Jakarta in just about a month's time. Real quick, here's a pull.
That's some CC. Fairsick able to dish out some damage, but Warlord is still able to escape on this Navari. You're going to be very careful. Fairsick is building up the stacks, but a decimation is going to come through from Chibi. First Blood Clay going to be brought under the turret, forced to back away. 10 seconds for the first turtle. And this might just be a free turtle conceded away from RRQ.
Yep, given that it was Fursic who fell, this gives Chibi a great advantage if he so decides to go for it. But now Banana, not even level 4 yet, hits it just around about the right time, same as Sepat here. But Fursic is going to make it on the scene on time, but as you can see, obviously, there's an XP gap between both of them. Speaking of which, in that early engagement in mid, I think, yes, RRQ should have a great dive potential, but not this early on, not like this. It can't overload.
Final slash already right now as Banana does the same thing to the back line, but Chibi finds the retribution. Chipoy and Fairsick unable to get close enough to the turtle, and HomeBois are controlling the early game tempo.
Yep, so if HomeBois keeps this up, if they maintain the space between them and their opponents, it should be a better ramp up for them going into the mid-game power spike. They're almost about 1,000 gold ahead already, and for those wondering, yeah, this is Chipoy, the one and the same Renbo, previously known when he was playing mid. This is an interesting direction for him to take, but I'm expecting a lot from him, especially since he is on the Minotaur, who has become quite the commodity from MSC.
And I honestly, looking at the players as well for RRQ, it's not just Chipoy who's you know, who I expect a lot from, but I think I can speak for most Indonesians as well. We are all expecting so much from Zen, especially with his comeback here to the main RRQ lineup. We'll see how he performs on the Claude, especially considering that Skylar is one of the best Claudes in the world. Can Zin step back into those shoes?
Yep, if you know the history between RRQ's main lineup gold, but now Clay forced to use the flicker. Oh no, Astral Echoes.
Cold Alter already popped in. Sepot still has the final slash, brings him back for the decimation to pop through. It's all HomeBois in the first 3 minutes of the game, even in the top lane. Anip is doing really well in this lane up against Zen, who's forced to go back onto the BMI. Now a lot of few shots coming down. Mortal Coil to CC him up, but Chipoy flickers forward, getting the stun, getting the healing all the way to give Zen some more space to get out, but it does not change anything. Anip is still able to soak in all the turret gold with Chibi.
That's a lot of good money going over to HomeBois. They're building up to a 2K gold lead in 4 minutes. This is amazing. And this is how you play a jungle Mars. In addition to weaving in and out using those iframes and the amazing mobility you have in these small skirmishes, you want to be able to snowball. And a 2-0 against RRQ who wants to dive in, is that not the textbook definition of a snowball? Already a great start for the HomeBois. I'm sure the Flame Boys watching right now are going crazy.
Clay is bringing them back right now with the Shadow Stampede. That's also the Bravest Fighter, but it's going to be the go-away. Placed down with a time journey to go for the peel. On him in the back, still able to survive, but that's the flicker from Banana, and the Appraiser's wrath from Versick to take Zorn and Anip down. Chibi, though, with a Mortal Coil, utilizes the decimation to get the kill over, and it is still HomeBois who had control over neutral objectives.
And just like that, it's a replay of the earlier engagement we saw towards mid lane, and still 100% turtle take rate for the HomeBois. Something I noted here is the fact that Clay, as a Faramis, has to do 2 things. He has to both deal damage, given that he's the only magic source for RRQ, and also he has to watch out for the Cult Altar. So again, maybe Is it weird for me to say that maybe it's RRQ who's getting overloaded themselves?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what's going on right now. RRQ are trying to fill in so many different positions, so many different holes in their game, and HomeBois just have the answer to end every single question that RRQ raises. Here, we're going to take a look at the item builds right now, and you can really see it. Even Xin is really struggling, despite being on a good matchup against the Melissa on this Claude.
And this is a telltale sign of how ahead HomeBois are. Look at Sepa, just going straight from the boots, upgraded, into the Thunderbelt. That's it. He knows that he's going to deal a lot of damage. He knows that he means business when he comes in, finds a perfect final slash, or even just weaves those vengeances around. And just the same, when you're looking at Anip up against Sin, who already has a lot of pressure on his shoulders from not just the Kingdom, but all of the Indonesians watching SPS right now, there's what? A 600, 700 gold difference between both of them. And on XP level, gap 2.
This is how you play with the Melissa, right? Just let her transition into all the lanes, get the snowball going, play with the Melissa, especially if you have someone like a Diggy who can really force the Claude out of lane. Because the reason you... Oh, beautiful, beautiful CC there from Chibi, cutting it open so that Anip and Warlord can actually get some more pressure into the mid lane.
Whoa.
They might actually go for it. Wow, Chibi, 1v3, still able to survive. The Shadow Stampede brings him back. That's the Minion Fury as well. A snipe down coming through, but Chibi can always get out with a Mortal Coil. Meanwhile, Banana, though, has to burn out a Flicker. Anip does place the Inspire, use the Inspire, but it's going to be very worth it for them for that trade, Flicker for Inspire.
Yep, they won out. Even if they did lose one, if it would eventually trade out for a turret, HomeBois are just pushing the advantage here. They're going to go ahead and be first to the scene. 4 members from HomeBois first posting up. Going to pull here slightly. And they do have vision on the members of RRQ who's looking to contest. And again, Fursic is in no place to fight Chibi right now. That's a what? 3 level gold lead, 3 level XP lead.
It's massive. It's back to just 2 because Fursic was able to clear out a few more cannon or creeps in the jungle. Thing is, we kind of spoke about this backstage, and even Eterna mentioned it, the inconsistency of Fursic. How is he going to perform here up against one of the most consistent junglers in MPO Malaysia, Chibi, with his impeccable retributions? Unfortunately for Fursic, that has been one of his weak points, right? His retribution has always been a bit shaky.
Yep, last seen in his heyday of MSC 2021 and winning the MPL ID in Season 7. It's a tough go for RRQ right now, seeing that they're 3K down, and now Banana, the only frontliner. Here comes Fursic from the north. Oh, see, they know that even with a pincer maneuver, like even with an amazing angle, RRQ are not in a shape to fight.
They have a time journey. I think Banana was trying to bait that out before Chipui goes for an engage, but now Minion Fury gets popped in. Zorn doesn't even use it, and look at Anip doing so much damage with a backup as well for Warlord. Now it's going to be Sepa jumping in onto Banana, who's still able to escape. Fursic, Xin, and Clay defending that bottom tier 2, but Banana is in the midst right now. Forced to use the Bravest Fighter, 1 HP. That damage reduction is really saving him, but it seems like for HomeBois, Warlord understands RRQ to the tidbits.
Yep, and an interesting go at this. We noticed that RRQ are already overloaded. The fact that Warlord and Sepa have such an easy go at it, it just spells out what HomeBois have been doing throughout the early to mid. Now at 9 minutes, not a single death on that XP laner and that mid laner. Hell, even Chibi hasn't died. So our analysts were asking, hey, is this Zorn a Diggy player? It doesn't matter. He's doing amazing right now.
If you play the flashy heroes, the initiation heroes, you should understand how to counter it as well.
That makes sense, yeah.
Zorn has been in the game for such a long time, and, you know, on the Ziggy, he is really popping off, even going for the Impure Rage. So it's not just a random roam Diggy, it's a roam mage Diggy. He's going to deal so much damage towards the late game.
Yep, he built the fleeting time, so he knows that as long as I can make conversions out of the time's journey, I can keep going. And now, it's Warlord who secures the Lord, and now Banana catches one.
Zorn still with the time journey right now. That's going to be a Nip free hitting in the back line. That's going to be Minion Fury connecting onto the back as well, but it does not matter. Chibi's going wild, a Nip as well. Zin with a blazing duet defensively. Warlord picks up the killing spree, and it's practically a wipeout. The only reason it wasn't was because of Clay's passive. HomeBois can just walk through the base now. Clay is 2 levels behind of Warlord. At this point, what can he say in this base siege?
Oh, wow. They force the Holy Shield to pop, and they put in a fifth of damage, and it looks like they're not done because Anip is staying. And again, you all know, at this point, everybody knows the dynamics and the interaction between a Melissa and a Faramis. Cult Altar means nothing to a Melissa. Forget about it.
Forget about it, indeed. Banana there getting melted down. RRQ, you can see the predictions, 91%, but it does not matter. HomeBois, they thrive being the underdogs, but that's a weird engage from Anip. Gonna be sliced down by Xin, as now it's another overextension from Subpot all the way under the base turret. It's Xin getting a double kill, showing that RRQ are still in it.
All right, HomeBois, y'all were ahead 5K, 6K, maybe even 7, but that's still Xin. That's still Xin, and he's only died once, and because of what happened here, he's been able to build up to 3 core items, upgraded his boots, and now has a solid pair of pants. I'm guessing he doesn't even have to upgrade the pants. He can build up to 1 more core item and then completely threaten HomeBois. Again, this is a medium-sized 6K. We talk about like relative gold leads. This is still something that RRQ can work with and even cross the river for.
I think if we look at the items as well here, the power spike is there, technically. The fact that Xin has only kept, has kept his gold deficit to this extent is crazy. The fact that Melissa is only 800 gold ahead of him.
It's because of that last clash. A lot of bank
shutdowns
came through over. Yep. And now HomeBois pushing RRQ out of their own jungle. This is the Indonesian side of the map. So HomeBois know that they're still ahead. They have to close the gap. And something to note, right? A majority of this, half of the 60 gold lead is on Chibi alone. So that's something to note. Chibi has to be the one to say, you know what? I can take 2, I can take 3. Let's force it. Definitely a penetration here down bottom.
Definitely. Oh, final slash onto 2 on Nip now with the combo, doing so much damage to the bundles. Instantly, the Decimate comes through as well. Chibi finds another, and it's a Nip who's able to find Fairsick. Now Xin gonna be stunned up. That's the bundles once again, but Immediate Fury connects onto 4. A late time journey here from Zorn, but it does not matter. They get the shielding and they get what's necessary. Clay dove under the base. It's gonna be Clay bringing Sapot back. Xin doing the damage to go for a shutdown again, and he finds a killing spree. Sepot falls. Now in the mid lane, it's another minion wave, but Nip should be able to siege this down, and Xin has no say in it for now.
As messy as that engage was, it still was a 3-for-1 plus 2 inhibitors falling. So RRQ now have to consider, you know what? This lower quarter of the map, the other half of the map for us, is going to be, again, dangerous is an understatement. But yeah, it's dangerous for us to walk around here, especially given that HomeBois are now 7K ahead. I'm surprised that Fursick even would decide to try and contest here. What's going on? Soren has his ult. They have the Astral Echo. Spots 3 here. Watch for the Time's Journey. Watch where Banana will land. He still has his bravest fighter.
Look at the muddle placement by Anip. He hasn't even used the Inspire here. Call Altar comes down, but the muddle placement is on point. Anip once again forcing it out. No Call Altar. Clay walking in front with the Shadow Stampede, getting some movement speed, but with this, I think it might just be RRQ conceding again. There's no way they can fight for this Lord unless Xin can make a miracle play, but it's going to be a zone. Good muddle placement once again from Anip, and it's a free Lord over to HomeBois. This time, 13th minute, it's the enhanced one.
Yep, and that's going to be marching on through mid. It looks like the waves are in a healthy spot right now. Map is looking red. RRQ has to stay inside their base. Here's one thing that I think RRQ should be very worried about. Their high ground defense ain't very good. Again, when you invest in a dive lineup, you don't want to be in this position.
3-man final slash. Clay gets brought back. The Immediate Fury comes down, but the Time Journey cancels it out. Now Xin was waiting at the base. He actually recalled right now as Banana jumps in, gets a stun down with the Bravest Fighter. A Nip with the Wind of Nature, so able to cut away right now. That's going to be the dive coming in with the Call Altar. But the go away stops him from diving. Banana with a flicker defensively. Xin trying to clear out this mid lane Lord. He's going to be able to do so right now, but he will lose the last base turret up top. Almost a snipe down from Warlord towards Banana. Clay brought back the muddle placement coming down. Xin with the Wind of Nature right now, jumping onto it, but he has to bounce back. Now it's Cheapboy flickering defensively. Banana once again with the Bravest Fighter onto the mist, but it does not matter. The damage is not enough. Xin coming back in with a BMI, now getting more HP. It should be HomeBois getting this right now, as Xin will finally fall to the Decimate. It's a 2-man stun. It's a triple kill for Chibi. And HomeBois start strong with the first game victory.
A clutch pickup on the Haas Claws kept Anip in the game and got him the W here to start us off. Wow. even before the game started, everyone was throwing big question marks at how RRQ will perform in the absence of a more anchor-like jungler, in the absence of their new pickup, the Burmese roamer in Naomi. And I guess the HomeBois saw that. The HomeBois just read that as a go signal to just put the pedal to the metal.
It was too much for them to handle. Completely steamrolled, stomped in that game. I think 0